I am the CEO of Adaptive Plastics, but I'm also the second generation owner of Solexx greenhouses. And I wanted to show you, this is Solexx, and can't see from this far away, but it's double walled, so it traps air. And that trapped air equals insulation. And when you have an insulated covering, you have drastically reduced energy costs. So Solexx was developed by my father almost 30 years ago. He's a plant scientist, although that had nothing to do with it. It was purely accident. But in that 30 years, we've really learned a lot about growing. And one thing that I really have admired about him is his company was all about sustainable packaging and totes in agriculture and reusability. And this was 30 years ago, so it was long before being green was cool. So I've learned a lot from him. And I've also learned in being a part of this industry that this is not sustainable. What's happening, just like Larry said, the trajectory, we just don't have the fundamentals to support this kind of growth indoors. And I'd really like to challenge everybody in this room to be a part of the solution. Because you're here, you clearly care about sustainability and about cultivation, but this is a women's issue and we are going to be the ones to solve it. This has to go beyond just those of us in this room. I'm hoping Women Grow will also take this platform and really help us make a lasting and meaningful change. So cannabis is a sun-loving plant, and we forget that, but it grew up in the sun and it deserves to stay in the sun. And when you have a happy plant, you have a healthy plant. If you have a plant that's stressed and it's not healthy, you get disease and you get pests. And when you have disease and pests, you get fungicides and pesticides. And when that happens, you have an issue like we had in Colorado here, where you have massive recalls. So what happens here at the cultivation level is not about cultivation. This is about sustaining the entire industry. We have to get it right at cultivation so that we can get it right at every single step in the chain. And ultimately, we have safe products for consumers, whether they be patients or whether it be for recreational use. So this is really critical, and everyone should be looking at how things are cultivated, no matter where you are. And also, the estimates are that the energy consumption this year was $5.5 billion. Think about that for a minute. We've been hearing in the seminars today and other days that this industry had legal sales of $5.4 billion. This is something that we have to be looking at. But there's another reason to look at this, and I want to show you this. This represents 1 ounce. It's actually hops. But this is 1 ounce. This 1 ounce grown indoors takes over 100 pounds of coal to produce the energy to produce this. And it produces 165 pounds of CO2 emissions. This is very substantial. Now, in a greenhouse, you get about 11 times more efficiency, or it costs 11 times more to grow indoors than it does in a greenhouse. So let's say you grew this in a greenhouse for the exact same amount of energy. This is what you get indoors. It's staggering. And what's so important about this is not just an environmental issue, it is a sustainability issue, but it's also a profitability issue. And one thing that really concerns me about seeing people invest so much money in indoor grows is you have tremendous HVAC expenses, you have electric, and you have grow lights. Those don't translate to a greenhouse. So as soon as regulations change, and they will, or somebody operates a high efficiency greenhouse in your market, they're gonna get higher yields, they're gonna get great quality if they do it right, it's gonna be incredible pricing pressure, and they're gonna do it for a fraction of the costs. And I don't wanna see women going into business and going out of business because they didn't have this as part of their strategy. Shelly.
Hi everybody, I'm Shelly Peterson from Urban Grow. We